guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a book discussion over I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette Mccurdy. I say a book discussion instead of a book review because for those of you who have seen my book reviews, I tend to talk about the plot, the character development, what I like and what I didn't like, and I feel like it would be very rude for me to sit up here and say, well, here's what I didn't like about your memoir. So I'm going to be focusing it more so on the themes I saw and relating it to Jennette's experiences and also some real world type of experiences. I do also want to put out like a small trigger warning saying like this does deal with some like heavy subject matter, but feel free to go through any of my other videos or my channel or follow me on any of my social media links down below. So I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette Mccurdy is basically Jennette's memoir about how her mom forced her into acting and some of the events that occurred, you know, before, during, and after her whole acting career. So it's divided into two parts, which is before and after. So before, of course, is, you know, before her mom dies, and that has a lot to do with her rise to fame, her acting career, and just her juvenile and adolescence years, yeah. And after has to do with, of course, you know, her mom dying and dealing with the aftermath of her mom's death and some of the issues that stem from her mom's mistreatment of her and just finding out a lot of different things. And she's also trying to repair her mental health during this point too. But now I'm going to jump into the before. In the before section, I did notice the theme of child exploitation and the abuse of children, specifically in Hollywood. And see, I'm ready to talk about this because I got my notes. So, child exploitation. Okay, I just want to say, first and foremost, I am really just sick and sad and concerned by the amount of adults who are willing to exploit their kids for fame and success. Like, you do not love your children at all. It's just really mind-boggling to me. Like, a lot of people do not need kids. Jennette's mom forced her into acting at a very young age because acting was something that Jennette's mom wanted to do, but she wasn't allowed to do that. So, you know, of course, she's trying to live out her dreams through Jennette. And she gives Jennette all these different type of agents, and she signs her up in all these different type of classes to help make her a better actor. And Jennette is very adamant that she does not want to do acting, but of course her mom guilt trips her and throws tantrums, and Jennette feels like she has no other choice but to go along with the program, something that I will talk about later on in the video. There is a scene in the book, it's after they found out that Jennette booked iCarly, and Jennette says, I jump into mom's arms, because they're celebrating at this point. She squeezes me. I'm elated. Everything's going to be different now. Everything's going to be better. Mom will finally be happy. Her dream has come true. I don't know why, but that part really just stuck with me, and it just made me sad. Like, her mom's dreams have come true. It's not about her, it's about like what her mom wants. And it just really made me sad because once again, her mom's exploiting her and she's looking at, oh, look at all the success, benefits, and fame we'll get off of this. And I do want to connect it to social media and how there's, you know, a growing presence of family vlogging channels and mommy bloggers and da-da-da-da. Something that came up when I saw this tweet. I'm gonna see if I can post it. I don't know, or maybe I'm gonna look stupid. Let's see. But basically, to piggy off of this point, I feel like we're gonna see an era later down the line where adults who were children of mommy vloggers or family vlogging channels will come out and actually say, hey, I actually was not okay with this, but you know, social media has made it so easy to exploit your children. And I'm just really, once again, I do not understand why you would even want to do that to your children. This also feeds into my next point of child abuse in Hollywood. it, like, once again, it just really sickens me to know how many people in Hollywood want to prey on young children. Like, it baffles me. And you know what, Jennette refers to him as the creator being Dan Snyder, which we've all heard terrible stories about, but I'm gonna refer to him as the creator too. The creator is one of those people who, you know, he just has like a really sick and twisted mind. So, and he uses his intimidating presence to get kids or their parents or just workers to do anything that he wants. And the scene that really just made me kind of like sick is, and I've heard of this before, that the creator, he would want to see children in bikinis and swimming trunks for, you know, whatever his own sick, twisted fantasy is. And this is after Jennette books iCarly, and she's going to a fitting, and she's told that the creator wants to see her in these bikinis. And at the time, she's very young, like I think 13 or 14. And obviously this is making her very uncomfortable because she tried on one bikini, but now they're pressuring her to try on a second one. And she's like, okay, no, I don't want to. But, you know, the fitting agent is pressuring her and saying like, oh, like basically like, don't make him mad, don't get him on his bad side. And her mom is even like, go ahead, just try it on, like just do it. And this is clearly making her uncomfortable. And I'm just like I really cannot wrap my head around it. Like, just wow. And I won't go into all the details about what the creator has done. You can read the book yourself, but he is very belligerent and berates some of the working staff and also fires a kid for messing up his lines. Like, the next theme I want to talk about is narcissism. So it's not only present in just the before section of the book, but also the before and after, because straight up her mom is a narcissist. And even if the book didn't classify her as a narcissist, I think I would be able to say like, yeah, it's given very much narcissist, being that I have dealt with narcissistic family members, and I've also dated somebody that's exhibited narcissistic tendencies. So her mom her mom was very interesting. There's like early on in the book, something that really creeps me out is that her mom is a cancer survivor and is going through an on and off battle with cancer. And at one point in the book, she records herself after learning she has a cancer diagnosis. And I think it was every week she makes Jennette, her two brothers, and I think the rest of their family members sit down and watch the video of her learning her diagnosis because she wants them to be grateful for where she is now. And it's clear that it makes everybody uncomfortable, but nobody says anything because she also has the tendency to throw temper tantrums to the point where like the family's like really scared to confront her about it because they know how just mean she can be, especially when she's throwing tantrums. And then, you know, the whole guilt tripping and like, oh, if you don't do acting, then you're basically slapping me in the face, like you don't care about me, you don't care about the family, like da 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 da. Some stuff that I've kind of like dealt with a little bit. I'm just like, wow. And then, you know, you also have the whole like narcissist being very image driven and worried about like how people see them. And I think about Jennette's mom making her go through these beauty routines for her to, you know, book all these different roles and parts. And one of the most like effed up things that comes out of that though is when Jennette's like going through puberty and she's like asking her mom like, okay, well, how can I like prevent this? And her mom introduces her to calorie restriction, which in hand, Jennette gets a eating disorder from like the way her mom told her how to eat, and okay, like, no, you can't eat that, da 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 da. And I'm just like, wow, her mother was truly and an interesting person. And I also think narcissism ties into a little bit of whole childhood exploitation, because like once again, narcissists are very image driven, and usually, you know, they're popular. And so I can see somebody like that's a narcissist kind of going the route of, okay, well, how can I exploit my family so I can get famous, or how, like, our family becomes successful and famous and we can get all this money. Okay, now I'm going to be talking about the after section of the book. And like I said, this has to deal with the aftermath of her mom dying and Jennette coming to like the realization that her mom was a really messed up person. And I did notice the themes of like the loss of like childhood, and also like, you know, issues stemming from Jennette's mom's abuse of her in when she was a children, and even then after an adult, she's still very much abusive. So just all throughout Jennette's life. So specifically dealing with loss of childhood, she talks about like the fame and how it put a wedge between her and her mom. And she says, but now that I have it, I realize that she's happy and I'm not. Her happiness came at the cost of mine. I feel robbed and exploited, which once again says so much about child exploitation, and going back to like the family vlogging channel and how people just really exploit their kids and they don't care how they feels. And the kid grows up, you know, like Jennette, they may have not really even had a childhood because they were always in front of TVs or cameras. And especially with social media, you know, you're getting like every step of your life documented for like thousands of people to see. The conjoining part to this is the issue stemming from childhood abuse, because now Jennette is struggling with an eating disorder as a result of the calorie restriction ideals her mom imposed on her, and she's feeling shame and guilt every time she eats. Even after her mom dies, she still carries that with her. And so there's several times throughout the book where, you know, she goes and gets help, and a therapist suggests or says to her that her mom was abusive and her mom's a narcissist. And Jennette does not like this, and she stops seeing the therapist, and she's trying to come to terms with it because she's like, okay, my mom sacrificed so much for me. She would never do anything that wasn't the best for me, something I really relate to. And later in the book, she does come to terms with the realization like, yes, my mom was a terrible person, and what she did to me was incredibly messed up. And she also deals with being like a people pleaser, which I feel like is very common for children of narcissistic family members. And so specifically she says, my anxiety causes me to be a people pleaser. My anxiety causes me to take the picture and sign my autograph and say it's a good one. But underneath that anxiety is a deep, unearthed combination of feelings that I fear to face. I fear that I'm bitter. And that's something like I really relate to, because growing up with a narcissistic family member, once again, narcissistic people being very image driven, it's, in a sense, you grow up to be a people pleaser because you're so scared, because you're walking on eggshells around certain people and wanting them to like you, and just saying like, yeah, I'll do it, or yeah, sure, when you really don't want to, because you've never been taught about boundaries, and people are overstepping your boundaries because you're a people pleaser and you don't know how to say no. That was a lot right there. But all in all, I'm saying that the exploitation and never getting to grow up as a child because you're always in front of the spotlight is, I can imagine, is something that really does take a mental health toll on you. But I am glad that Jennette was able to get the help that she needs, and I do hope she continues to get the help that she needs. And she shared her story with us, because for that, she is very brave. And you know, there's a whole scene where they want her to take the hush money to not talk about her experience about what happened at Nickelodeon, and she doesn't. And I feel like she's very brave, because I know there are probably tons of other child actors who have gone through what she went through, and it's nice for them to see Jennette's voice, to know like, okay, you know, I am not alone in my experience. Okay, so that was my book discussion of I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette Mccurdy. All in all, I know that was pretty heavy, and I didn't even really get into a lot of specifics, and there's some other things that have happened, but I wanted to keep this video fairly short and just talk about some of the things that I read about in the book and just share some of my experiences. So this being a book discussion, of course, I'm not going to give it a rating, but I did like the book, and of course I will always support Jennette in her future endeavors. It's not like she knows me personally, but I'm just saying, if you're watching, girl, like I support you. I got your back. I got your back. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my social media down below, and tell me what you thought of today's book discussion. Bye.